Before I start my presentation, I just want to do a little bit of self-introduction, okay? My name is Xiaochen. I'm from an NGO called Study Abroad Research Institute. Our organization tries to help students, especially from Nigeria and other African students, so that they can study in Japan in the future. Okay, so we provide information about Japanese universities and how foreign students can apply to get into Japanese universities to come here to study and also get scholarships for coming here. So today, before I talk about any sort of specific programs in Japan that's available for foreign students, today I want to give a short presentation on why you should consider studying in Japan in the first place, right? So many of you may be considering many different places that you can study abroad. I want to give you an idea why Japan would be a good idea compared to other places for studying abroad. Okay, so I'm going to share a presentation with you. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. Right now I'm sharing a presentation with you that says why study abroad in Japan. Okay, so I will go over this presentation and give you some ideas as to why you should consider studying abroad in Japan. Okay, so today I want to talk first a little bit about our organization, the Study Abroad Research Institute. What do we do and what we are? Then we want to talk about some of the benefits of studying in Japan in two different aspects. One is about earning a good living, right? So after you graduate from university here, what sort of jobs can you expect, right? And what sort of salaries can you get in those jobs? Many of them might be curious. Second is about getting a university education here in the first place, right? So how much does it cost to get an education here, and what sort of ways that you can find to get scholarships and other ways of getting money that you need to study here in Japan. And last, I want to finish with a little bit of how our organization can help you get into a university in Japan. Okay, so starting with the first point, what is our organization? So as I introduced slightly earlier, our organization, we're a nonprofit organization that helps students who have never thought about study abroad go abroad to study, right? So right now we focus on African students and helping them go to Japan, right? So our organization and myself, we're based in Tokyo in Japan. So we're more familiar with the universities in Japan, and we can provide you with information. Since we're a nonprofit organization, we're not charging the university or any of you any money for our service. We're just a platform for you to get information about how to apply to Japanese universities. Okay. So this is what we do is we reach out to students to tell them about Japanese universities. And we also encourage schools in Japan, as well as the Japanese government authorities to accept more foreign students. So as you can see in this diagram, our organization SARI, talks to three different groups. One is the students, one is the universities, and one is the government, right? So we talk to different players to make sure that we have the best condition possible for you to be able to study here in Japan, okay? And the reason that we as an organization can help you better than others is that we have our own experience studying abroad, especially here in Japan. So I want to give you my personal example. So this is me, right? I was born in China. And I grew up in Japan. I moved to Japan when I was 5 years old. And then I moved to the US when I was 12, right? So I grew up in 3 different countries. And I also study abroad in many different countries, right? So I study in the US, of course. I also study abroad in Australia, UK, and right now I am doing my PhD, doctoral degree, here in Japan at the University of Tokyo. And I'm able to help African students to apply to Japanese universities because I did the same thing. I was working in Tanzania for 2 years for a nonprofit organization. At the end of those 2 years, I applied to the University of Tokyo in Japan directly from Tanzania. So many of you may think that applying to Japanese university might be difficult where you are, but based on my personal experience, I can tell you is entirely possible from you for you to do your applications directly in your home country to Japan, right? Because I did the same thing, right? I applied to a Japanese university from Tanzania. Now, let's go into the benefits of studying in Japan. Okay, first, you can earn a good living after graduation, right? So, okay, to say it very bluntly, the salaries are very high for Japanese university graduates, especially compared to many other countries. So here, the average salary in Japan was this much, about $40,000 in 2019, 2 years ago. On average, people living in Tokyo, where I live, can expect even higher salary of about $50,000 a year. For some people who work in specific industries where there is a lot of demand for university graduates, the salary can be even higher than that. For example, if you work as an IT consultant, the average salary is about $58,000. People who earned graduate degrees like master's degrees and doctoral degrees, PhD graduates, they're paid higher than bachelor's graduates, right? So I mentioned that bachelor's graduates gets paid maybe $40,000 a year. PhD will be paid 40% more, right, than bachelor's. So they'll get even higher salaries than it's possible for a regular bachelor student. Now, at the same time, finding a job in Japan is relatively easy because Japan is running short on workers today. So this is a graph that shows the number of jobs available for each person who's looking for a job. Now, as you can see in 2019, at the very end of the graph here, there are almost 2.5 jobs available for every person who is living in Japan, right, and looking for a job. So the chance of a person looking for a job to find one here is quite high. Now, also at the same time, Japan's population is declining very fast. Today, there are about 130 million Japanese people, but by the end of the century, in 2100, it's predicted that there will be only 85 million people left. So the number of people in this country is shrinking, which means there are fewer people, which means there are fewer workers. So it will be easier for people to find a job, and salaries will increase over time as well. Now, so that's some of the benefits for you after you graduate from Japanese universities. But before that, how do you even get into and get educated in a Japanese university? That's what I want to talk about now. Now, getting a degree, I want to say it's a lot cheaper in Japan than compared to many other countries, especially Western countries. Let me give you a few examples. Yale University is where I went to bachelor's degree for my education. There at Yale University, per year, the tuition, the school fees, is about $44,000. Okay, and of course, for bachelor's degree, it's 4 years For master's degrees, 2 years. For PhD, at least 5 years. So you have to multiply that 44,000 by the number of years that you're in school. So it's a lot of money. London School of Economics is where I went to my master's degree. It's also very expensive. It's about $38,000 a year. Okay, sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes 2 years for the master's program, but it's about the similar price as Yale University. University of Sydney, I study abroad there. This is in Australia. The price is slightly cheaper at about $26,000 a year. Some degrees might be $41,000. So it's not too different from the US and the UK. Okay. But when you compare those prices with the University of Tokyo, where I currently attend school, it's very, very high. The University of Tokyo is much cheaper than those schools that I mentioned before. Here in the University of Tokyo, for both master's and PhD, the tuition is only about $5,000 a year. So it's about 1/8 to 1/7 of the price that you have to pay in Western countries. So it's a lot cheaper to get an education here in Japan. Now, Japan also offers a lot more scholarships for study abroad students than in many Western countries. I think many of you are probably very concerned that if you do end up studying abroad in Japan, how will you find the money to do so? How do you fund your education? Now, I want to give you an example from the annual scholarship pamphlet that is provided by the Japan Student Service Organization. This is a government organization that helps foreign students to understand how the Japanese education system works. And this pamphlet provides information on a lot of the scholarships that are available for foreign students. For example, there are national government scholarships. So these scholarships gives free tuition, so you don't have to pay for school. You will also get airplane ticket from your home country, and you also get more than $1,400 in cash every month, so that you can spend on your living costs while staying in Japan. There are also more than 30 regional government scholarships. So aside from national government, regional governments in Japan also offer many scholarships. Some give free tuition also, and they also give more than $900 a month in cash so that you can pay for living expenses. Aside from government scholarships, there are also many private foundations that give scholarships in Japan. These private foundations are either charities, NGOs, or associated with many big private companies, right? And in this pamphlet, there are more than 90 private foundations listed. If we look at the content of those scholarships, usually they give a lot of cash to their recipients, right? On average, we're talking about $2,000 a month in cash that people can spend on living expenses as well as tuition. So these are some of the scholarship information. I just want to let you know that there are many, many options available for students who are studying abroad in Japan. But aside from scholarships, right? So even after scholarship, maybe there's need for additional money for living expenses and other spendings that you may have while living and studying in Japan. So students who are studying abroad in Japan are allowed to work here, right? A Japanese student visa allows students to work up to 28 hours a week, every week of the year for part-time job. And there are many part-time jobs available for foreign students as well. For instance, many students will take up English teaching. English teaching, depending on the place, but it could be paying up to $39 per hour that you can, earn in order to spend for your daily expenses. Others who might not like to do English teaching might work in a store or a restaurant, in which case you'll be paid maybe around $14 per hour. Okay. And for others, they might prefer something that is more heavy in terms of labor. There are many constructions and factories and warehouses in Japan that are also hiring very actively. And these jobs will usually pay about $28 per hour. Okay, so if you do a simple calculation, working 28 hours a week, every month you can earn a pretty significant amount of money that you can put toward your tuition or daily expenses, aside from the scholarships that you may get. Okay, so after discussing, how to get a degree in Japan or how to fund your education here, I want to end this presentation by telling you a little bit about how our organization can help you. Now, we're here to help you take your first step towards studying Japan by providing you the information, right? So there are many different kinds of information that we can provide. For example, in Japan, even especially if you're trying to get a job in the country, learning the Japanese language might be important. So many of you are wondering, how would I go about learning the language? We can provide you information on that. There are many online classes that are available and online resources that help you self-study Japanese language. Now, we'll also tell you about different programs that are available to foreign students in different universities in Japan. We get our information directly from our partner universities, and, and we publish it on our website, so you can take a look at the programs that are available and the process for applying to these programs. And we also help you understand how to apply to schools and scholarships by answering all your questions related to these application matters. Of course, you can communicate directly with the universities and the scholarship foundations, but sometimes they might not be able to answer all the questions you have. In that case, we're here to help you understand and provide additional information that the schools and scholarship foundations might not be able to give you. Lastly, we want to provide some information to help you adjust to living in Japan, right? If in case any of you study in Japan, probably it's your first time ever living in the country or ever living abroad. In that case, there will be a lot of things that are quite different from what you're used to back home, right? There are different ways of doing things, different procedures for you to, for example, go to school and buy things and dealing with the government offices. All of that will be stressful for you if you're encountering them for the very first time. So we're here to provide extra support to you to help answer your questions about your daily life outside of your study abroad experience as well, right? So not just about school, but we can provide you other information about the country. Now, we have a direct partnership with many Japanese universities. For example, our staff will directly contact the admission officers at Japanese universities, and these admission officers will provide us with information about the programs that are available, right? Sometimes these information are not available to everyone because they're not published directly on the websites of the universities. So we'll be able to get many unique information that other organizations or even you, if you're doing research yourself, cannot find, right? So these are some unique information that we can provide to help you get into schools easier. So these unique information allow us to give you extra tips and advice to help you get into universities and programs easier, right? With these tips and advice, it'll be much easier for you to apply and have a higher chance of getting in than is possible if you're directly looking for information yourself on the internet. Okay. So that's it for my presentation. We have our own website where we post all the information about our partner universities. We also have Facebook and other social media channels. So we would love to see you on those channels so that you can continue to follow us, and we can continue to send you new information about programs as they come along. Okay, so yes, this is my presentation for today. So before I end, I want to take any questions from anyone in this group. If there's any questions, please let me know, and I will answer. Okay, seems like there is no questions. Okay, great. Well, in that case, I will probably end the meeting if there is no questions. Of course, you don't have to ask the questions now. Maybe there's a lot of information that I just provided that you probably had a hard time digesting. So I will allow you to take a look at think about the questions you have. But in the meantime, I will provide you with information about our website, so you can get more information there after our call is finished. Okay, I will paste our website address directly in the chat here in this call. Okay, so please take a look at our website, and we also have our Facebook group and our LinkedIn group. Okay, I will also share with you our Facebook group so that you can follow us there. Right here. Okay, great. Seems like there is no other questions here. If there is no further comments from anybody else, then today I think I will end the meeting here. Okay. You're welcome to contact us directly at our website or on our Facebook. Okay, and we have a contact form on our website that you will be able to see once you click the link. And on our Facebook, we can also answer any questions if you can send us an email or a message on Facebook. Okay, great. In that case, I think we're done for today. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, all of you. And we hope to see you on our website and our Facebook soon. Okay. I will send a thank you email to Jonathan, who helped to organize this meeting after this call, so that he knows, that we finished this call and can get further information from us when it's necessary. Okay, great. Thank you all. I am finishing this call. Thank you today. Okay, bye-bye now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.